Hey everybody, I was challenged to share my testimony, so I thought that this would be the best platform to do that. And so here I am in my leftover Sunday hair and hat to share with you just my testimony. I grew up in church at a very small church in a small town, going with my mom and my grandmother and my brother. And I remember when I was 12 going up and getting baptized, but I never really understood what that meant. And so I kind of flew around in the world, if you will. When I was a teenager, I decided to go on this spiritual journey, and I'm so grateful to my mom for allowing me and supporting me and trying to figure out where I fit and what I wanted and what I believed, because a lot of parents wouldn't do that. And so I read all kinds of books about different religions, just trying to see where I fit and where I connected. And honestly, Christianity wasn't even on the list because I had met so many people that were Christians and they just weren't people that I wanted to be like. They were mean. And they were judgmental and all kinds of things I had no desire to be a part of. And so when I was a teenager, I met my best friend, and we started going to church together, to the youth ministry. And still, it wasn't necessarily about church. I think it was more just about hanging out. And so we went, but I was, there, and I was hearing what was going on. And so I started to kind of pursue a relationship, but not really. I just wasn't ready yet. And so when I got pregnant with my son, I remember just reflecting on watching my friend as she lived her life. And I remember always feeling envying her, quite honestly, because we went through some things. We made some pretty poor decisions and got into some situations, but I always respected and appreciated and envied a little bit how grounded she was. She was always so grounded in her faith, even if we weren't doing the right thing. She just had a solid foundation about her that I felt like I didn't have. And so when I got pregnant, I said, I want my son to have that. And I said, when he got ears in my womb, I would start going to church. And that is what initiated a true relationship with Christ, because I felt like I wanted him to have what she had. I wanted him to have that foundation. I wanted him to have that thing to fall back on. But I knew that, but I didn't want to be a hypocrite. And so I knew that I couldn't give him something that I didn't have. And that started my journey of just falling in love with Christ and falling in love with Jesus outside of religion, outside of the four walls of a church. It just being about just loving him and allowing him to love me. And it allowed me to see myself in so many ways that I had never seen myself before. Have struggled with depression all my life, and I honestly still struggle with it. But it's so different now. No matter how dark it gets, it's never hopeless. And no matter how helpless I feel, I don't feel hopeless, because I know that there's someone there, that there's something there, that there's something inside of me that I feel like is consistently pushing me forward. And with everything that I've experienced, and everything that I'm currently in the process of experiencing, just in my life and with my children, having that relationship with Christ has meant everything to me. I don't really have this miraculous pre and post experience. I don't have this, I can't tell you the exact date that I accepted Christ and all that kind of stuff and the day my life changed. I don't really have any of that, because it was more of just a gradual thing. And it was just like, it kind of was a day where one day I woke up and things were just different, but it gradually happened. And so looking back on it, I can tell the difference between where I was before and where I was after, but I can't pinpoint it exactly. All I know is that there's a fullness and there's a joy and there's a peace that I feel that I know I never felt before that. And I know that, and even the way that I experience my past and memories or my testimony and things like that, I draw so much strength from things that I am well aware were designed to break me. And my perspective about things is so different because of the time that I'm able to spend with the Lord, and I'm so grateful for that. because I don't know where I'd be otherwise. And I'm so grateful for how God just designed things and how He kept me and how He intricately weaved the events of my life, people coming in and people going out. Um, I can see God's hand in all of it, and it's moving for me, and it blows my mind that someone would think so much of me to do the things that He did, even in times where I chose not to acknowledge Him or chose not to follow Him or love Him. To the idea that somebody loved me, even though I wanted nothing to do with them, and that someone was looking out for me, and that someone was caring for me and protecting me and keeping me when I had no desire to be kept, is amazing. And that's what it was. And there are so many events and so many times where I can think about how things should have turned out different and how things should have been different, but they weren't. Um, and so, yeah, that in a nutshell is my story. I'm so grateful for how things happened, and I know that it was God all the way around, and I know that there were times where I didn't realize it at the time, but He was always there. And I didn't understand things at the time, but they make so much sense now. And my story has not been sunshine and roses. It still isn't. But it's so much better than it would have been had I not known that there was someone holding me, for sure. And so, yeah, that's it. That's my salvation story, I guess. So thanks for listening.